Welcome to Three Cops Talk. On this podcast, three active duty police officers discuss behind-the-scenes stories and real-life accounts of what it's like to be a cop. Every episode, you'll get an inside look at the challenges and dangers they face on a daily basis, as well as the triumphs and inspirational moments that make it all worth it. If you want to understand more about the men and women who put their lives on the line for us every day, then this is the show for you. And now your hosts, Chris, Scott, and Sean.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Three Cops Talk. This is Sean. I am here with the Trifecta today. It's Rich Uncle Chris.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Is joining us. He got back from dropping his daughter off in beautiful Tennessee, right? Was it Tennessee?
Yeah.
Disclosing too much? You're going to Tennessee. And the thrifty Norwegian, Scott, Big Sergeant Scott is with us as well.
Sergeant Penny Pitcher, what's up?
Going on. Yeah, it's good. I think this is the first time in a long time that all three of us have actually been gainfully employed in the profession. Happy about it. And actually happy
good job,
about
bro.
Good job. Big week for me. It kind of goes well with our show today because we're talking about some things that this organization that I just got picked up by, luckily got picked up by, does a good job with it as far as I'm concerned, based upon what I saw and things that are concerned about that. But
I think their best thing was yesterday, 2 days ago, when you were on there on social media, just filling it up. Yeah, it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. It's like, you know what I think?
Very sharp, very polished.
I was born way, like I'm old, but I was born way, like I should have been born way earlier than the 60s. Cause like everything I wear like makes me look high-waisted. It's just like I am high-waisted, and I'm literally like, how do I reach my gun when my? But
dude, you're the only one I know that can do 3 creases in a shirt and 3 creases in a pants and pull it off. Like
actually, there was I'm going to explain it to you.
Very sharp.
There is a sweatshop in Vietnam that did that for me. I had nothing to do with that, because I checked the labels on all the things that I wear. And I'm like, Vietnam is so cool, and I'm like, oh, your team too, man. That was really good stuff. Like,
yeah.
The old slow South is BS. I don't agree with that. I think that the South is doing a way better job from where we came from, to sharing information with people. Scooter, you're deep in the middle of all that. Are they getting better or not?
We're definitely getting better here with that. I feel like we get a lot more information out now. And, one of the things like talking about, and I know we're going to talk about it more, but about how quickly stuff gets out. I mean, there's Facebook pages and Twitter accounts and stuff here where people are regularly listening to things, scanners on the radio, and they're putting stuff out. So you're competing against private people who are just, and they're not doing it one way or the other, like with an opinion on it. They're just getting it out there. But you got to know that, hey, we should be getting stuff out as fast as these people are getting things out as well,
So basically they got rid of that mimeograph machine because they cut that guy huffing all those chemicals. What's up, you man? Get out of here, dude. It's going down, man. I changed the E's. They're backwards on the press. Anyway. But our guest today is a really, really progressive and obviously really patient human being, because she's actually still here. I can see her.
Yeah, she hasn't hung up yet.
She's actually still here. She's not hung up yet. The other thing is she's joining us from sunny California, where it's like it's still yesterday at this point in the day, and we're doing that. So she's a great sport for that. But she has 17 years, or 19 actually now, 19 years of experience in public relations for local government and law enforcement agencies, including 12 years with the Chino, California Police Department. As a community relations manager, she developed and managed all aspects of public relations, from marketing and branding to social media and media relations. Basically, a top-notch PIO, or public information officer. She also supervised the crime prevention unit, which we'll ask her a little bit about that there, which is kind of unique. In addition to, over the last 6 years, she has worked with dozens of public safety and government organizations, businesses, nonprofit groups, and associations to provide training, websites, digital marketing, and communications consulting through her companies Law Enforcement Social and the Tamron Olden Consulting Company. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology from Cal State University, Fullerton. So, folks, please welcome our guest, Tamron Olden. Tamron, thanks for coming today.
Thank you so much for getting up early and doing this. Thank you.
Can you dig in a little bit more about a young woman like yourself, so much younger than me? Like I was joking earlier, I'm old enough to be your older brother, young lady. How you got interested in something like this? I mean, it's not necessarily the most glamorous work in the world, and you're dealing with, in the realm of communication, people that are still like afraid of fire. You know what I mean? Like in law enforcement. How did you get involved in this?
So I actually had zero intention of getting into this profession. When I was 20, just a couple years ago.
There you go.
Right.
I was in college and I saw a job posting for the city and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, decent job, flexible schedule, part-time while I'm going to college. And went for it, got the job doing community relations for Parks and Rec, and was able to get a promotion opportunity, another promotion opportunity, another promotion opportunity. And I said, hey, the police department has a full-time gig, something that I'm interested in. My minor was criminal justice. I'll go check it out. And here I am. Just never left and went on to pursue the psychology aspect of criminal justice, which I had originally intended to do. So I kind of fell in love with the PR side of it. And it was so unique and different and new. It was a challenge for me to be able to build it from the ground up.
Oh, that's awesome.
I imagine you must have seen like our ability to, I'm going to be straight with you. Like we joke about it a lot, but one thing is almost comedic is our level of inability to communicate effectively with the public about really crisis type communication and very little people to do that. Like when you're on the job and somebody's like, yeah, I want to be a PIO. You're like, what is that? Like a pizza delivery guy? What is that?
Right.
What do you mean you want to do that? And you see, like generally people got it reluctantly. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong there. In the agencies that we worked at, people were like, why would you want to do that? But it's actually so important in what we do. And the outside consulting aspect of that is huge for us to take it from an outside.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Tamron, correct me if I'm wrong, but you got started, I don't know, you must have been about 3 when this all started, but you kind of started when it was the police departments held a lot of information close to their chest and didn't want to get out whether it's good or bad to the public, because we all thought, oh my God, we're going to be 007 James Bond. We can't let it out. People are going to, run rampant and be afraid or whatever. So you were there when we took it from being really quiet to almost giving out almost everything on a case.
Yeah.
Like to catch people. Yeah. Or warn people. How did that kind of like work out? What was that challenge?
So you're absolutely correct in that it's shocking that there's a lot of departments out there that still have that old school mentality of don't talk to the media, no comment, no statement. And we were one of those agencies back in the day. And actually the need for us to have someone dedicated. You're totally right that it's not something someone goes into the profession, especially on the sworn side, wanting to do, having insight, knowledge, experience, and interest. For us, it was the internal affairs lieutenant, professional standards, and it was, oh, here you go. This goes along with your assignment. And there was no interest. They weren't proactive. The only time they showed up, if they did, was when there was an officer-involved shooting, and they had to say something. Mm-hmm. And we actually got a lot of flack and a lot of negativity from the local media. And obviously in Southern California, the media is very active for being uncooperative. And that every time they wanted information or a statement, they weren't getting responses back. They weren't seeing any information anywhere online, like social media. There was no news releases. The watch commander wouldn't call them back. They're getting passed around. And so a couple of the networks complained and said, hey, like we have a job to do, and this can also be a benefit to you. You need to be more cooperative. And so that's when I was voluntold by the
right. Welcome to the police world.
Yeah, you do other duties as assigned in your job description.
And here.
They said, you do, community relations stuff. You do public speaking. So now you're the PIO. And that's literally how it started. And it was a big undertaking, transitioning from don't say anything and then getting people inside to buy in. When you're going to the lieutenant or you're going to the chief or the captain saying, hey, I need this information. We need to put it out, and dealing with that resistance, which a lot of agencies still deal with that, where they don't want to put out information and are aware that legally you actually can put out a lot of information.
Right. And to your point, I mean, I think like, at least it seems like with getting put into that PIO job always was just kind of that person who they didn't necessarily have any formal training. It was just, you're doing this job now, or you're going into this and you don't have any training, but by the way, you're going to be responsible for doing press conferences and press releases and that kind of thing. Is there's more stuff out there now, or that's also kind of like what you do, but more stuff out there now to better equip people to be in that PIO role?
There absolutely is. And you're right. There was hardly any training. Way back in the day, one of the local sheriff's academy, I think it was Orange County Sheriff's, hosted a training. So I went, and it was hard. There wasn't really a lot to it. A lot of the concepts weren't very new and modern, and it didn't include a lot of the social media stuff. And that made it challenging for me to do my job effectively. So, I mean, I had to learn and study a lot on my own, because it wasn't anything that I went to college for. It wasn't anything I had real experience with. And the more I learned about the liability of the position, in that, you know, we invest so much time, energy, training, budget, resources, staff into all these specialized teams and units. And you'll be lucky if you're a PIO and you even have a line item in the budget dedicated to training, equipment, and resources. And then realizing, I mean, you say one thing or an incident goes down, and there's usually, in big cases, civil litigation following that. Right. I mean, you can cost the department its reputation and millions of dollars. Right. And, you know, you brought up something so relevant in that, you know, it is crisis communications and being able to push back. And I always say you have to pick the right person, and someone who has the ability and the competence and confidence to supervise up. And what I mean by that is, we would have incidents and they would go, okay, let's get all of command staff together and get all of their opinions. And I would sit there and say, okay, I wouldn't come in as a civilian and tell you how to run your SWAT operation or the tactical side of it, because that's not what I do. So people who have zero training experience or insight into the world of communications should not be steering and making decisions or having that big of a say when it comes to communications. I would pick the right people, train them, support them, and get the hell out of the way, because you need to allow them to propel your organization forward quickly. We can't wait to sit there and brief and debrief and get everybody up and down the chain of command's opinion, because now you already have the story out there, especially now with social media and phones. You can't wait that long. And there were times where we were getting destroyed by the media, and they're outside our door waiting for a statement, and we're sitting here fiddling around with everyone wanting to red pen a statement. And I had to say, Chief, let's go in your office. And I got a lot of side eye for that. And I said, what do you want to say? I'm not disrespecting their rank, but at the end of the day, this is you and your reputation, or our organization that's at risk. And what you want to say, and my, you know, support and guidance and helping you out a little bit, that's all that matters right now. And we can work this out later, but we can't keep waiting. And we have body-worn cameras. I know it's only a matter of time before we're going to have some sort of a critical incident, officer-involved shooting, that we're going to have to put out there. I don't want our community's first exposure to us putting information out in that format to be an officer-involved shooting, where who knows how that's going to go down or what the circumstances are.
Right.
And so he sought out, he said, we had a great incident. Someone was threatening to shoot us themselves. They had ran from us, and our officers took time to show compassion, to de-escalate, and, you know, to apply that training, because de-escalation training is huge, and to literally talk someone off of the ledge and get them help and show compassion. He goes, we need to put that out there
too. I just wanted to ask that media thing. Like, I know that, and maybe we're getting a little away from this nowadays, but a lot of times you would have some of the same local news people that would come out to these things. And I always noticed, and I was not a supervisor or anything at the time, but I always noticed that the supervisors that didn't just try to stonewall the media people, again, we don't cater just to them, but if you at least had a brief conversation with them and said, hey, yeah, you know, this is what we've got going on, but we are going to be getting something out, that probably helps that mission too, right? Like, they're not going to put bad stuff out as long as you're being open and saying, hey, yeah, we're going to get something to you as soon as we can. Just, you know, give us a little bit of time to get this thing under control.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, you know, they have a job to do. We have a job to do. And they have bosses they answer to, and they have questions they have to ask, and they have stories that they have to cover. But like you said, if you at least say, hey, there's reasons why we can't release a ton right now, but as soon as we can, and things are safe and things are resolved on our end, and we're to a point where we feel comfortable and safe doing that, we will absolutely reach out to you. Media relations is huge, because the media is, you know, whether we like it or not, they're around. And trust me, I know the names of the people who I could call. And if they've had information, hey, I know that the agency's not identifying the officer, but I know who it is because, the family
right.
called, and I'll go, hey, can you please not? But as soon as we are ready to release, I'll call you first, because
sure,
do you a solid and let you get the lead on that case, because it's that mutual respect and helping each other out in their missions. And that's a big deal. I brought in a media panel.
Negative towards the policeman in a lot of instances. And do you find yourself having to put out more information to battle that, or you just let it lie?
Absolutely. You are completely tailoring your message to, they're probably going to assume this, or they're going to categorize this incident like one that happened 3 years ago, 10 states over, and know that they're going to question this, they're going to question that. These are the officer's actions they're going to question. These are the circumstances of the suspect that they're going to question, and tailor your message completely to that. And it's anticipating, hey, what are they going to focus on? And identifying what were the circumstances leading up to the incident happening to be able to justify that, the officer's actions. And then the other side of it is, okay, were they armed or not? We need to show a photo physically of a gun.
Right.
I mean, and that needs to be the focal point of it. How did we get there? And that there was a viable threat. The other part of it is releasing the body-worn camera footage. We do critical incident videos for clients to where, even though you have a 45-day window to put it out there, one of the incidents that I was working here in San Bernardino, as soon as the incident had happened over a weekend, chief had called me and we were there filming and editing and got a video out the next day, because we could not afford, due to the circumstances and the information that was being put out there by the individuals involved. We couldn't wait. The 45-day window, if we would have waited, the city would have burned down. Probably.
Right.
I mean,
you're talking billions of dollars that you just saved.
Olden across all platforms, TAMRIN, OLDEN, and our website where you can see everything that we do. We do photography, videography, recruitment videos, websites, communications, training. All that is talkpublicrelations.com, TOCpublicrelations.com.
Ever wanted to ask a police officer a question? Mail your questions to 3copstalk@gmail.com. That's the number 3, copstalk@gmail.com, and we'll answer them on the show. Follow us on Instagram at 3copstalk. That's the number 3 copstalk. Thanks for listening, and stay safe out there.